The decision followed the law, interagency consultations and regional trade agreements. His defense comes as Parliament intensifies scrutiny into controversial sugar importation. Suzanne Locho has more.
An additional tax.
The National Treasury is pushing back against claim of irregularities surrounding the importation of raw sugar by Mombasa Sugar Refinery.
The issue of the regulations. How do you just put everything, let's start in the market? What is this hurry about? Kibos was not going anywhere. This importation of raw sugar was not going anywhere. Why didn't we get good procedures so that we can protect our people?
Cabinet Secretary John Mbadi says the approval process follows months of consultations involving the Treasury, the Ministries of Agriculture and Trade, the Kenya Revenue Authority and other regulatory agencies.
Sugar Board and the Kenya Revenue Authority. They are supposed to ensure that this sugar is only for industrial use. And we are very clear. You look at the minutes, it's very clear. If they didn't have the capacity, they would have told me in the meeting that they have no capacity. But they assured the committee that they have the capacity.
He says the aim was to boost local industrial sugar refining, promote value addition, and support job creation.
My policy is to promote investment. If the PS made a mistake of quoting regulations that don't speak to raw sugar, it is not my mistake. It is the PS to be asked, why did you quote a policy or regulation that doesn't exist?
According to the Treasury, the process began with an assessment of whether increased access to raw sugar would help utilize the country's installed refining capacity, strengthen domestic manufacturing, increase the supply of industrial sugar to local producers, and reduce dependence on imported finished industrial sugar.
The name changed from Kibos to Mombasa. It was even from this committee. So why should I be asked when I state that in 2025, the factory had changed the name to Mombasa unless someone is on a fishing expedition?
The Treasury says Mombasa Sugar Refinery was authorized under an East African Community framework to import 165,000 metric tons of raw sugar at a 10% duty for industrial refining. Mbadi says these were the only waivers approved by the Treasury, granted on public interest grounds. The Cabinet Secretary told lawmakers that the exemption came with strict conditions, saying that the imported raw sugar was to be refined exclusively for industrial use, with oversight by the Kenya Revenue Authority, the Kenya Sugar Board, and multi-agency team tasked with monitoring the release, utilization, and movement of the consignment.
In this case, what did you do to ensure that that is the case, so that the Kenyan public, because we're talking about 2.9 billion in terms of taxes, so the Kenyan public does not lose 2.9 billion.
However, Parliament's probe is far from over. Lawmakers continue to examine the wider tax implications of the consignment, including claims that the transaction resulted in billions of shillings in foregone revenue. Suzanne Locho for TV 47, Nairobi.